Foreign Affairs, and Alice Wahome, who is a nominee for the water cabinet position. And of course, things were very interesting yesterday as they got to declare their wealth. And of course, we'll be looking at in detail at what that was like, because Kenyans have been talking at length, Simba.
I can tell you, Nelema, and I got to pick your sentiment right now. And I know this is the center stage of what the dailies are talking about this morning. Of course, we're going to get there. But just, Nelema, top off, really. In this country, do you think that for government that is preaching the hustler narrative or the bottom-up economics model, that some of these faces that we're seeing here then would have been told, I've got no space for you, because essentially you're already at the top of the pyramid?
Right. You know, that is a subject that is raising mixed reactions.
Yes.
Because from its very definition, some will say a hustler is not necessarily someone who does not have any money and is just busy trying to hustle day in, day out. A hustler could mean that someone is waking up early in the morning to work hard, and that's also a definition of a hustler. So,
when do you graduate? Are there levels in this hustling narrative?
I guess the Kenya Kwanza government, I guess the president, Labour President William Ruto, they're giving it the very definition, just depending. And of course, one thing that has also come to light, Simba, is the acquiring of wealth. These are people that have been in government for many years. So it is expected, definitely, that they've had opportunities to accumulate wealth. But
yes, Nelema, I'll tell you that. I like the way you're saying, well, they've been in government for a long time. So it makes sense that then some of this would probably have invested somewhere, would have started businesses. Some of them were mentioning loans. But I did come across a very interesting opinion online. What I was saying, you see, if you want to be rich in a third world country or a developing economy like Kenya and Nelema, the only thing that you got to do is make your way into national politics. Case in point, Nelema, if today you were to start a business or invent something, are you sure that you will start a business today, watch it for 1 year in this country where we're talking about the high cost of power, the high cost of fuel, and watch it in a month for it to make 750,000 in profits? Because that's what a member of parliament takes home without the allowances.
Right.
That's a question we didn't ask.
I know that is also as an issue that has been talked about largely across social media. And of course, people just wondering, even if people declare their wealth as public servants, then who verifies? Is there a body that is mandated to verify, or will just take their word for it?
When I was looking at it, I was like, somebody said, you see these figures that we're getting right here, they're quite conservative. It's how Nelema would ask you, if you have $1 million shillings in your pocket and I come and ask you how much do you have in your pocket, generally, you would tell me it's probably 500,000. You can't tell me I've got $1 million bob, because everybody wants to take it from this conservative side. But anyway, much of those as well coming in our review today. We do know that those some of these things are exactly what you expect in the dailies today. We're going to take you through them just right now after this break. Remember, you can catch us up online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. The hashtag is The Morning Drift. Once we come back, all the way to the dailies.
Welcome back. This is Morning Drift, and it's time for us to take a look at what's happening on our local dailies. And on the front page of the Daily Nation, filthy rich hustlers. Of course, this is in line with the vetting of the cabinet secretaries that started yesterday at the Parliament buildings, and which saw 5 nominees being vetted in Parliament, and that is Musalia Mudavadi, who's a nominee for the Chief Cabinet Minister, as well as Aden Duale, who is the nominee for the Defense, Justin Muturi for Attorney General, Alfred Mutua for Foreign Affairs and Legal Consultancies, as well as Alice Wahome, who is a nominee for the Water Cabinet Ministry. And of course, they declared their wealth, as we have mentioned, and Kenyans were actually shocked at how much they said they are worth, and their worth is in millions. And of course, coming under some little fire right there for a government that spoke largely about hustlers, meaning the people who don't have much in the pocket. But now, Musalia Mudavadi, worth, as he declared, at 4 billion shillings, Aden Duale at 851 million shillings, Justin Muturi at 700 million, 420 million for Alfred Mutua, and 281 million shillings for Alice Wahome. This is indeed a conversation that is ongoing, and I'm sure a lot of it will still be spoken about today, because Kenyans are interested. And of course, just bearing in mind that this is their worth when they get into office, so which procedure is going to be taken for the time that they leave office. Something else that is also trending on the cover of the Daily Nation, of course, coming to you on page 4 of the Daily Nation, is the Gachagua 7 billion graft case. Is it on the verge of collapse? That's what the article says. And of course, this is following the DPP dropped the hearing. It was aborted for yesterday after prosecutors sought more time to review the case. And so this is the second time the case has been pushed. And of course, there's a growing concern. Is this case now, the graft case, going to collapse? As well as other cases that the DPP withdrew last week, all from Aisha Jumwa's case, the graft case that was dropped, as well as a few others. And so, of course, there's a growing concern about criminal cases and cases of corruption that the DPP has withdrawn, citing a lack of sufficient evidence. And of course, something else that is also trending on the cover of the Daily Nation is the politician accused of murdering her husband has been detained. That is Gladys Chania, who was an aspirant for the woman representative in Kiambu County. And of course, that story comes to you on page 3 of the Daily Nation. And of course, she'll remain in custody for the next week as investigations are ongoing. And one thing, again, of interest that is coming to you on page 2 of the Daily Nation is mental health. And the research says that 40% of adolescents suffer mental illness. This is according to a study. And the most prevalent mental problems, and it goes on to say that older adolescents had a higher prevalence of depression at 9.9% than the younger ones. Because this is something of concern as mental health is taking center stage. More people acknowledging that indeed it could pose a great challenge for the well-being of the people. And Simba, I will bring you in at this point. What is happening on your end?
Yes, I've got the Standard, and on this particular paper, it's the same headline that is essentially headlining the Standard. They've decided to say millionaire hustlers. That is the headline, and this is the kicker. The vetting of cabinet secretary nominees started off to surprising revelation about their wealth generated from various income streams, from Musalia's 4 billion to Wahome's 218 million, they said, was earned from years of hard work. Talk about the hustler narrative. Hard work. They had to introduce that in that kicker. So read that story into pages 4 and 5 of the Standard this morning. Again, other headlines that are also taking center stage on the Standard is life after state power. This immediate former President Uhuru are settled in the Mara. This coming days after netizens did sport the former president at a Narok restaurant, hotel, should I be more specific, and then this does make sense because it was still in the area. So they're saying the former president Uhuru Kenyatta has started a new life at the 1,000-acre farm in Ololmongi, Lolgorian in Transmara, overlooking the Mara Triangle. That's where it is. So he wakes up every morning just to watch one life. And this is
the view.
Yeah, the view is just on point. In fact, they've taken that picture. So instead of showing the property, we have wild animals in the background. What a life, Nalima.
I know.
1,000 hectares, though. Wow.
And of course, Simba, remembering the package that President Uhuru, former President Uhuru took home with him.
That's it. That's another one, by the way. $1 million bob every month.
Right.
Where? This is good life, yeah? Want to read into how your president, former media president, then is enjoying? Go to pages 3 of the Standard. And by the way, another story that you've actually also mentioned from the Daily Nation is Sweet Freedom beckons for Gachagua. Nelima's already given you the details of that story. Same story covered on page 6 on how that particular 7 billion graft case that the VP was facing might actually just go down the drain. All right, read that story into page 6. Nalima, I'm going to ask you this. Have you registered your SIM card?
Oh, yes, I have.
Which date did you register?
Actually, I have 2 SIM cards. I had registered one.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one was blocked, but I think I have sorted that out. I did sort that out yesterday.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Could you tell us the process? Because they said that the process of registering after the closure of that window was going to be a bit complicated than had you registered during the first period. How was it? Could you mind telling us?
So I just woke up.
Yeah.
That was yesterday.
Yeah.
And when I had my sister's was blocked, so I just went on immediately.
Okay.
Without knowing my status.
Yeah.
So I just went on and to the link. I logged in and put my number, the whole process of the ID, the front part of it, the back part of it. And then I was told to wait 24 hours for verification, for the whole verification process.
Right.
And then they'd let me know. So I'm yet to know if I can make calls, but I think it has been sorted.
Majority of Kenyans realize that it's not the blocking. By the way, you would still, some of them would still make calls, but then you would try to send money via M-Pesa. You find that that service is actually not enabled on online until you had to register. So on page 6 of the Standard, read into how 40 million SIM cards have been registered. And by the way, this particular telcos have been given 6 months to conform to 100% registration. Any other person will be found, any other operator, will be found running business without then this registration. The licenses are bound to be revoked. That's fine. Also, on pages 40 of the Standard, read into how Arsenal is the best team in the whole world. That's it. I'm not making it up. They're saying hits and misses of EPL matches. Okay. So the inference from that is that Arsenal is a hit now. Just read into how Arsenal is the best team in the whole world, and how KPA also is downplaying congestion as more ships dock in the new Mombasa port. So those are some of the stories that are making center stage on the Standard. I don't know whether you do have one, Nelima, that we can actually get to look at before we cross over into what is trending this morning.
Right, and you know what we are expecting today? Yeah. There are going to be more of the vetting process. Oh, yeah. And of course, the people that we're looking forward to see
to be released.
Right. We are looking at Professor Kithure Kindiki, as well as Aisha Jumwa.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Especially for Aisha Jumwa. I don't know whether we should be talking about that. Of course, it's not a case in court, but we've got to talk about it. By the way, she was facing a murder charge, isn't it? Right. That was dropped 2 weeks ago, with the Law Society of Kenya questioning the DPP's move to drop that particular case. So they did give them 3 days, isn't it?
She was facing a graft case as well as a murder case, and the graft charges were dropped, and so she still has the murder case.
Oh, wait, the graft charges were dropped,
Yes, the graft charges were dropped, and the murder case is still standing. It's still standing. It's still in court.
It's going to be really interesting, isn't it? For the vetting committee when they face Aisha Jumwa.
Of course, Simba, because looking at how the parliament, how they have worked before, there are some nominations by the former president Uhuru Kenyatta that were revoked on the basis of graft cases that were still in court. And so for the cabinet secretary nominees for this time, we're just looking to see how the legislators are going to carry the conversation as well as make their decision based on that. And of course, Kenyans are just hoping against hope that the process is going to be free and fair. Just hoping that they're going actually to make clarity and not only take in people just because the president made the appointments. And that is something, Simba, we're looking forward to see. And very interesting to see yesterday Junet Mohammed question Alfred Mutua asking very pertinent questions that if this is indeed the hotel that you own, then your net worth cannot be
420 million, isn't it?
Exactly. But so we're looking at very pertinent questions being asked, Simba, and hopefully then this will bring things into light.
I'm also wondering if then these particular questions that they're asking Nalima are really going then to inform the outcome that they're going to make. So hold on, because the question is going to be then, this gameplay, and I saw somebody say this just before we take a tiny breather and come back to what is trending today. Somebody said, you know, I can pick you as the president, Nalima. I mean, yes, I should pick you. And we do know the picking process of this CS is quite a political process.
Right.
Then I leave you to the mercies of the process, because we know after they are vetted, then this committee is going to decide whether indeed this particular candidate crosses over to the next stage.
Right.
Is that what the gameplay is? Because questions have been thrown as to why Ruto then would have picked some of these candidates that have a record, some of them active cases like Aisha Juma.
Right. Simba, of course, the question being, it is more political than it was in 2013, 2017, away from technocrats and more into politics. But again, it is not unconstitutional. It is at the discretion of the president. And so we'll just be looking at how the process will unveil.
As we do promise that we shall be giving those pictures when and how we can once the vetting of the 5 again today that does speak. Now, we take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, let's see what you're talking about as far as this hustler cabinet is concerned once we come back.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Hi there, my name is George Washuri. I am so happy to see you, and today I am here to enumerate, to explain how we package our land investment. We have 5 levels of our property, and we classify these levels as 1 star, 2 stars, 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star. This is what we mean, that if you buy a property that is 1 star with Optiven, one of the things that is evident, the property is cheaper, is below $500,000. And this particular property is basically bare land. We only do subdivision, put the beacons, and then produce titles. The second level, we call it 2-star. This is prime land, whereby we grade the roads, we put a marking fence, do the beacons, and produce titles. The third level, we call it 3 stars. This 3-star is value added plots. We do the malam, we do the water, we do the mesh fence, and there's a caretaker on site. The fourth level is 4-star. 4-star is ready to build development. We do very nice maram roads, we plant the trees, we put the water tower, we also put a caretaker on site, and finally, the 5-star. The 5-star is premier, it's the top level. And this one, we do cable roads, we do water management through underground culverts, we do underground power, we do fountain for water, we do beautiful and nice permanent gates, we do perimeter wall, and also do install the CCTV, and the whole property is manned by uniformed security. Some of these properties, these 5-star properties, we do a clubhouse and also construct swimming pool. Thank you once more for trusting Optiven. We value you. We are at Absa Plaza, 14th floor and 15th floor. God bless you.
Born a man, the society bestows tough responsibilities upon you.
Lazima uwe mtu wa bidii, ukija kuoa lazima uwe ni provider.
If you're not able to provide, that's a challenge. It takes a toll on a man.
It takes someone who is strong enough to face it.
This is Born a Man.
Hapa kazi tu inaendelea kuwasaka na kuwatambua wale ambao wanafanya kazi extraordinary na zile kazi za kujituma.
Biashara yote unaambiangwa, as long as you have a plan, you can do it. Our service is about kufurahisha the customer.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni Hapa Kazi Tu.
Good to have you join us on Heart to Heart.
We bring you stories of people who, despite the pressures they experienced, still trusted God to see them through.
The seeds that was sown in me helped me navigate and overcome that period of my life.
New testimonies, new insights, and even better revelation of the good things God has in store for us.
There is always a blessing waiting for someone in every episode.
Welcome back. This is the Morning Drift. Let's cross into what is trending. By the way, this is one now we said where we can actually get us. I am at Kiage Simba. Nilima, where you at?
At Nilima Nancy on Twitter, Nancy Nilima on Instagram, as well as Facebook.
That's
and of course, the hashtag is Morning Drift.
You gotta be part and parcel of this conversation. Guess what? Let's talk about Chilimo. Nancy, we can pick it from there. We've already gone through what the Hustler Cabinet is. Let's pick what Kenyans are talking about online. The lady, this is the background, the lady who coined the name Rigi G. Her name is Chilimo, isn't it?
Right.
She's been finally offered a job at the Deputy President's office.
Right, Simba, talk about doing the right thing at the right time, the right place, in the right manner. That's what gets you ahead.
In the right manner. We just say it's just pure luck.
Right.
Yeah, and the fact that probably the deputy president is a cool guy, got the sense of it.
And you know, this is also, Simba, the era of social media, where one thing you say, you write, you do, could go viral the next.
It could go viral.
And you could be famous or infamous, depending.
Just from it, isn't it? So someone asked the question, our former president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, his nickname, Jaden.
Right.
Who came up with
Where did that come from? That person needs to be rewarded as well.
Right. Who came up with it? Who came up with the name Jaden? Listen, we're calling out for any other person who knows the inventor of the word Jaden.
The genesis.
Associating it with the former president.
Right.
Uhuru Kenyatta. Guess what? We will ring him up. We know where he lives now. We just have to go look for him, and then after we tell him, you need to reward this particular guy as well. So let me read this tweet from Kiage Simba. Then we see exactly where he's coming from. In as much as the job award is concerned. Now, the creative economy, a result of empowered youth, will be allowed to thrive and given all the support in our administration. He continues, I met Ivy Chelimo, the Rigi G brand initiator, who paid me a courtesy call in my office and later accompanied us to the World Food Day in Kajiado County, where it even became a road trip now. Okay, Nilima.
She's already on the job.
Out of the blue. Okay, gotta ask you this question. Okay. Out of the blue, you're the deputy president, and you have this particular person who's coined for you a very nice nickname, and then you decide to give them a job. What job can Ivy Chelimo get in your office?
I think there are definitely different dockets within the deputy president.
Double fit?
Yeah. So we're not very sure about the specific role that she's going to be playing.
Yeah, but you
looks like there's always an opportunity.
Yeah?
Yeah, if you approach it the right way.
I'm telling you though, but you came on board as this creative mind, the inventor of nicknames.
And she looks fairly young.
She looks quite young.
And Simba, let me read something by Dr. Ezekiel Mutua. And it says, I have always said that our youth can use social media positively to get opportunities and climb up the ladder of success. This young lady, Ivy Chelimo, coined the name Rigi G for Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. He liked it, and she got a job in his office. Of course, so that is Ezekiel Mutua just telling young people they should dare to dream. You just never know.
That's how it is. But they didn't say which job, though. From that, we could have been critical of the job that she got. All right.
I think so it's too early to call. We will find out.
That's it?
Eventually, yes.
On the flip side of that particular one, there's this comedian called KK Mwenyewe.
Right.
Yeah?
That guy,
he's Rigi G more than Rigi G.
Right. He brings out the deputy president. Like, when you hear him, you assume that's definitely the DP talking.
That's it.
And then you look again.
Yeah,
and you're like,
and then you're like, wait, who am I watching?
Oh, no.
Hold on. Do you think, I'm going to put you on the spot again, Elim, I'm sorry this morning. Of the two, that is Ivy and KK Mwenyewe, who could have been more deserving of that particular job?
Well, Simba, I may not be able to answer that directly. Yeah. But you see, I think they're both creatives. And I think that there could be an opportunity for this guy as well. Because he is pretty good at his craft. He has perfected it.
He is good at Rigi G.
Yeah.
So probably somebody has not sent a particular post to Rigi G just to show him KK Mwenyewe. Because if Rigi G actually gets to watch KK Mwenyewe, a job immediately.
And I know Kenyans on Twitter have been calling out on Deputy President just to take a look at this guy's body of work and how much he depicts the DP more than he does himself.
More than he does himself.
But of course, Simba, as well, you know, it is, we say time and chance.
Yeah.
Time and chance happens to us all. And the race is not for the swift. So just depending on how luck finds you.
Let me tell you, I gotta share this joke with you. So you see how people say that everything that Rigi G used to do in his first maybe few days of appearing in public, all the way to the debate, that everything was a script, isn't it? So they would demand for the questions, then they go rehearse over the questions, and then come back and give you the interview. So Kiki mwenyewe was put on the spot one of these fine days, and they sort of went off script. You know what he said on live interview? Excuse me? That was not part of the script. Whoa. You gotta watch him.
I believe the DP should watch that as well.
Here's the thing, though. One of these fine days, by the way, when Brian Amwai will be hosting Friday, we need to find him so he can come to the studio. And then we do Reggie G for 30 minutes.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome, isn't
Kazi
it?
Kwenu.
Yeah, Kazi Kwetu, sindio?
Yeah.
All right, on the back of that, let's clear like this then. We're picking at just a couple of sentiments then this morning on what you think about the Hustler Cabinet. And we do know that all those who came up on top were 5 yesterday, and we did see the vetting of Musalia Mudavadi, who said his net worth is 4 billion. There's Aden Duale, 851 million. Justin Muturi, 700 million. Alfred Mutua, 420 million. And Alice Wahome, 218 million. In fact, you can see there, and this is one from Edwin Sifuna, and I'm going to read it out to you, Nelima. They said, ladies and gentlemen, a total of over 6 billion shillings appeared for vetting in a bunga today to join the Mamamboga government. When you start to look at the details, Nelima, that is 6 billion. That is, you see,
that is a whole lot of money.
That's a lot of money, isn't it? They do not fit the Mamamboga narrative, though. When you start to look at those details, the way Edwin Sifuna is sort of looked at it conclusively like that. Like, you see, the thing is, if you put it together, that's 6 billion. And more coming today.
Right. And of course, Simba.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned earlier, there's still another side, another group of people who are arguing that a hustler is not necessarily the Mamamboga. A hustler is anyone who wakes up early in the morning to go and make a living, an honest living.
An honest living, isn't it?
Yeah. So you could call them hustlers.
Hustlers
they fit the bill. Maybe they do.
Yeah.
Right.
Which side of the argument do you belong to?
Simba, I plead the fifth. And at Moha on Twitter, it says, the real Mamamboga na Boda Boda guys were blinded by yellow t-shirt, caps, and lassos. They were blindfolded by Kazi ni Kazi. Now every hustler matters. They are being told that it is our time to eat by rich hustlers. So, and of course, that is a trending issue across there. And of course, there's something interesting about Alice Wahome as well, Simba. And she talked about leaving her degree certificate. She could not find it at the time of the vetting. And she did say that it must be somewhere. But she had a letter from the university acknowledging that she indeed completed her degree at the University of Nairobi. And of course, that is something else that Kenyans are talking about. Just saying how the speaker, Moses Wetangula, came to her defense. Was that right? Was it not?
Did you see, just before we take a breather so that we cross over to the news, like, Adelima, did you see how the Speaker of the National House, that is Moses Wetangula, was asking Musalia Mudavadi the questions in front of the committee? Case in point, are you the head of a political party? Have you been in office before? Somebody said, bro, you know me. We did this together.
But the process is the process. Due process.
Listen, like, you're going to avoid those questions. Like, bro.
Right. But again, Simba, due process.
Process is the process.
It has to be done.
Does it?
Yeah, like you can have a different kind of relationship out there, but now due process, vetting has to be taken through within the parliament. You have to be vetted, and upon which now you can be sworn into office.
I want you to go read the body language of Musalia Mudavadi. When he was getting asked these questions by Wetangula, he almost said, bro, me jump those questions.
Like we hang out.
Yeah, like, bro. Anyway,
and Simba, before we go, Simba, there is, Alice Wahome did mention, and let me quote her. She says, my father was a polygamous man. We are 48 siblings in my home.
Hold on.
Something.
48?
Yes. Something I do not wish for most men, especially in the current economic times.
How would she know? She's worth 218 million.
And of course, saying that she was married while at university, and the father of her children is still her husband, and that is no small achievement. So again, we can see that she is a champion of the monogamy type of arrangement when it comes to marriage.
That's it, trying to be the model mom for family.
Right.
That you gotta have a father by your side.
Yeah.
Very interesting though.
And of course, Simba, there are very many even light moments.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to what today is going to be like. And remember, today we're going to be having Kindiki Kithure on that bench, as well as Ndungu Churchill himself, Aisha Jumwa, Moses Kuria. These are the nominees, the cabinet nominees, who are going to be taking the hot seat. And of course, just looking at Moses Kuria, where people are talking about his tongue that has landed him in trouble a few moments here and there. And of course, just looking to see how he's going to be able to handle that kind of question.
Interesting. We're waiting for that one for Aisha Jumwa and Moses Kuria as well. I'm also got particular interest in this as well, because we know that docket that Moses Kuria is going for is also very integral to the economy of President Ruto's government. Nalima, we take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, I'll be taking you straight to the newsroom so we can see some of the headlines that you are pushing your day off today once we come back. The Director of Public Prosecutions, or DPP, has been granted 3 weeks to review evidence in the graft case against the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, and 9 others. The ODPP said on Monday that the prosecution, through Senior Public Prosecution Counsel Vera Amolo, or Molo to be specific, applied to the court for more time to review the evidence available based on the letters received from some of the accused persons.
Barely 2 weeks after the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nordin Haji, dropped corruption charges against various state officers including Aisha Jumwa, Moses Leonard Kulal and former Kenya Power boss Ben Chumo, a magistrate court has adjourned the hearing of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's 7.4 billion graft case after an application by the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions sought at least 3 weeks to review the matter. The case had been listed for hearing on Monday, but the Principal Prosecution Counsel, Vera Hamisi, indicated that the matter was being reviewed after they received a number of letters from the accused persons.
And within those 3 weeks, Your Honor, we'll be able to tell the court our position. Your Honor, in that regard, the prosecution is not ready to proceed with today's hearing because we want to just report to the court our position. So we'll be asking for an adjournment, because even most of the accused persons are not here, and also because we are still reviewing the evidence, Your Honor, based on the letters that we received on behalf of a number of accused persons, Your Honor.
Gachagua faces 6 counts of economic crimes, including conspiracy to commit a corruption offense, money laundering and fraudulent acquisition of public property. The Deputy President is also accused of fraudulently receiving 7 billion Kenya shillings through 3 different bank accounts in his name at Rafiki Microfinance Bank money, which is alleged to be proceeds of crime. After the dropping and postponement of a chain of graft cases facing certain politicians in the country, different organizations and leaders are now calling on the Director of Public Prosecutions to come out clean on what are the reasons for dropping of charges.
The society therefore calls on the DPP to publicly reveal the reasons for the discontinuation of the cases if the public are to restore confidence in the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
Ian Keitani with that story. Now, the ongoing drought ravaging the country has forced more than 35% of learners in both Marsabit and Samburu counties to drop out of school due to the hunger and starvation. Expectant
with Kenyan
also suffered from several malnutrition, with some mothers losing their lives due to the ravages of the drought. John Omari with a story.
With Kenya enduring its worst drought in 40 years, the effects are devastating. Marsabit and Samburu County in particular are among the counties enduring severe drought, with over 35% of students being forced to drop out of school due to hunger and starvation. Samburu North Member of Parliament Eli Letipila has come out to thank donors who have provided relief food, while also urging the national government to reintroduce food programs which he claims have been static for the past 4 months.
All the schools have reported to us that there was no supply from the government at all of the school feeding program.
To combat this tough situation, farmers in Nakuru have come up with an innovative program that will help boost food security in the country.
We need to take our own initiative with the local resources that we have. Right now, people are dying because of the hunger. What are the initiatives that we can initiate there at a very background there, grassroots level there? We need to come up with adaptation ways. This is one of the adaptation ways. Adopting this small system that saves on water, that are able to be managed easily.
The program, which involves setting up of multi-story gardens that last up to 10 years, will enable farmers in arid and semi-arid areas to maximize crop production while also allowing them to plant diverse crops. Samuel Kamau, a director at Kitchen Garden Masters Kenya, said the program not only focuses on making food available, but also improve nutritional quality, as the gardens provide lowered soil temperatures and good root penetration, which enhances plant performance. John Omari, Lookuptv.
The questions of integrity and conduct, as well as experience, played a key role in the first day of vetting of our cabinet secretary nominees, where 5 of 24 have so far been vetted. The nominees were, however, faced with the tough questions, including the question of how much each was worth, with most of the nominees finding a hard time explaining the source of their wealth. Shadrach Kareria with that story.
Would you tell this committee your financial net worth?
Mr. Speaker, yes, I would comment on that. If I take my investments in shares in various, in some companies, and also the properties that I own, I would put my net worth at about 4 billion shillings.
4 billion. What are your current and anticipated sources of income?
Mr. Speaker, rental income, dividends, where I have the shareholdings, and also interests, and of course other expenses that come from the farm.
We witnessed that there's a lot of delays in prosecution, a lot of delays in investigation, blame games between the EACC and the Office of the DPP. So what are you planning to do in order to address these issues to make sure that there is justice? Justice is not delayed and Kenyans get justice, and corruption cases are addressed efficiently and effectively. Be necessarily the work of the judicial officer before whom a case is filed to inform the public about when the case is coming, except when if the matter is being heard and there's an adjournment, then if a date is taken, it's the work of the judicial officer to indicate, and that is normally done publicly.
Bias, favoritism, or nepotism in the discharge of your duties?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Could you tell this committee your financial net worth?
Chair, I'm worth 851 million Kenya shillings, including the assets I own, including the goats and the sheep and the camels that I own. So I had to go and even in 10 days' time, I had to go and value my 231 camels.
Kiambu Law Court has granted the police order to continue detaining the prime suspect, Gladys Chania, and her alleged accomplice, Maurice Mbugua. The two suspects, who were arrested on 14th October, are set to remain in police custody for 7 more days ahead of further police investigations. The matter of the Rwanda-based engineer George Mbugua allegedly happened in his matrimonial home in Amangu before his body was thrown into Kieni Forest, Kiambu County. Mudeundalana reports.
Kiambu politician Gladys Chania was on Monday a woman under siege. Police praying for the miscellaneous application to continue holding Chania, who is being treated as a prime suspect in the murder of her husband. Kiambu Court Magistrate Wilson Radin, in his ruling, granted the police more time to continue remanding the key suspect in police custody at Gilgil Police Station for 7 days against 14 days prayed by the prosecution. Gladys Chania, wife to the late George Mwangi, is accused of working in cahoots of Maurice Mbugua in executing George's gruesome murder.
Complex matter, and investigators need more time. Just to put the pedestal here in, and to balance the interests of the parties, it will be of less prejudice if the period that is requested, I can see that it is the 14 days, but the court will allow the period to be for 7 days. Yeah? So the application dated 17th October 2022 is allowed for a period of 7 days. Then we shall mention it on 24th of October 2022 for further orders.
Police and DCI officers are to continue with the investigation on the murder of Rwandan-based engineer George that allegedly took place in his Mangu matrimonial home before being wrapped and thrown into the Kieni forests. Despite complaints about the short period allocated for investigations, the findings will be addressed before the court before a murder case is filed.
The nature of this case, it is complex. The 24 hours granted by the law is not sufficient. The matter was, they were arrested on Friday, and a lot need to be done in order for evidence to be gathered so that the person who is culpable is arraigned before this court to take plea.
As the suspect's defense called out the pledge by the prosecution on having the suspects remain in police custody, they urged the court to release suspects on bond. Gladys Chania and her alleged accomplice Maurice Mbugua were taken into custody on 14th October after George's body was retrieved from the forest.
The police have the honors and obligation to continue their investigations, but they can't be allowed to detain accused persons at their pressure as they continue their investigations. And because these matters have been concluded by the High Court, I am urging you Anna very, very humbly. You release these people on bond. They have shown cooperation up to now. They will cooperate today and they will cooperate tomorrow.
The late George Mwangi's untimely death was allegedly caused by a hit on his head by a blunt object. The puzzle to the murder deepens as one of the workers, known as John, disappeared. Mudeundalana, Lookuptv.
The main suspect in the murder of Ida Odinga's bodyguard, Barack Otieno, was arraigned in a Kisumu magistrate's court yesterday after his arrest that took police officers 4 days of pursuit. Collins Okunde pleaded not guilty to the crimes of murder and possession of a firearm and was detained at the Kisumu High Court cell for the next 14 days when his case will be heard in the presence of his lawyer.
The man behind Thursday's fatal shooting that left Ida Odinga's bodyguard lifeless and injured his friends was arraigned on Monday in Kisumu before Senior Magistrate Estella Telewa. Collins Okunda was ferried from Eldoret following his arrest after he went into hiding for 4 days. A pistol that is suspected to be the murder weapon and 7 rounds of ammunition were found with him during the arrest. The suspect pleaded not guilty to the prosecutor's allegations of murder with violence and possession of a firearm. In a ruling, the court dismissed his plea for bond, stating that his freedom was a threat to the security of Ida Odinga's family, and detained him for 14 days to allow the DCI to probe the matter and also to conduct forensic analysis on the weapon ahead of prosecution. Wangari Njoroge, Lookuptv.
Finally, a family from Meru County is asking for help to transport the body of their daughter, Jacqueline Muthoni Kiambi, from Saudi Arabia, where she died under mysterious circumstances in pursuit of looking for a job. This family is being an addition to the many families in the country, that mourn their children who have died or suffered while in the Gulf. Edwin John Mukora with that story.
Grief engulfed the family of Jacqueline Muthoni Kiambi from Imenti in Meru County after receiving the news that their daughter had died under mysterious circumstances while working in Saudi Arabia. Jacqueline's mother, Jane Kiambi, who has been left with the responsibility of taking care of Jacqueline's children, has asked for help since she's the only breadwinner in the family.
Jacqueline ni mtoto wangu na nasikia na kupia huko Saudi Arabia. Naomba serikali unisaidie mtoto wangu apike Kenya.
According to the family, Jacqueline, who has been working in Saudi Arabia since 2013, has been in constant communication with the family until December last year when they lost contact with her. The family is asking for assistance from the government to be able to bring her body to the country since they are financially constrained.
Tukiwasiliana na yeye akituambia yeye ni mzima, akituambia anaendelea vizuri, anatuuliza nyumbani tunaendeleaje, tunamwambia tunaendelea vizuri. Lakini wakati I think last year hivi kitu July ndio tulikuwa tumeongea na yeye, na December pia akaongea akasema ako under deportation, sasa ndiye arudi Kenya. Sasa hatujui kuliendaje, mara moja akanyamaza, tukiandika message ni kugretic, hakuna blue tick. Sasa tukashindwa inaendaje, tukaendelea hivyo, nikajaribu.
There was no communication. Hajawahi tuambia kama yeye ni mgonjwa, hajawahi tuambia kama amegonjeka, hajawahi tuambia kama kuna shinda anapata huko. Lakini the moment ile communication ikatika, we started thinking otherwise, though we could not communicate to her.
When being vetted before the parliamentary committee, the nominee for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has sworn to solve the disaster of Kenyans dying abroad when going to look for jobs, if the committee is going to approve his appointment, saying it's sad to hear that 85 Kenyans have died in the Gulf in the past 5 months only.
And some of the things that we want to do is that it's a clear recording. If you're going to send our kids overseas for work, you need to have a record of who you are sending. You need clearance by the Foreign Ministry, not only by the Labour Ministry. And when they arrive in that other country, we'd like to get within 2 weeks to know which home they are domicile and where they are working. If we don't get that list, then that organization will not be allowed to send any other person to that country ever again until that is met.
Edwin John Mukora, Lookuptv.
It's quite disturbing if you hear that, because if the data is anything to go by, those are 17 Kenyans who lose their lives in the Gulf in 1 month. Think about that. From one source. I mean, in the country, the only time that we see that probably is through road accidents. But at workplaces, something that you really have to think about. Anyway, so we take a short break right here on The Morning Drink. But just before we do, I know that Nancy Nelima is getting ready to come back with a very important conversation that looks into issues workplace culture. What is it that you have to understand when you are working with people at work? You're not alone. And if you look at the time that we spend at work, in fact, you tend to spend more time at work with your colleagues more than you spend back at home with your family. So this is like a second family for you, for any other person then who's got a job or goes to work on a daily. What is it that you have to know so that now you are healthy as you work that coming up. And I do know she's got Alice Njambi. We've hosted her here. She's beautiful. She's amazing. That's exactly why you have to wait for that conversation. But for me, I'll be joining you from 11 to 12. Let's talk about issues on climate and climate innovation. What can we do then to provide business within this disaster called climate change? Good morning.
Good to have you join us on Heart to Heart.
We bring you stories of people